Ooh, I don't think he's dead yet either. Hey guys, before you get started, make sure you click that subscribe button. And if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Comic Book Nostalgia. This is CB Nostalgia, and this is our Titan Season 2, Episode 3 recap. The episode's entitled Ghosts, and that's probably for a good reason. This episode was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. Check out our review that we linked below. It's spoiler-free, and we'll talk about what actually happened in the show in this episode. Well, a lot happened in this episode, and there's no way we can go through every detail, but there were a couple of key points that I thought were really important. Now, let's start off with what I thought was the highlight of the episode, Deathstroke. This portrayal of Deathstroke, to me, is near perfection, as is the really obnoxious Dr. Light. There's a great scene in the show where we get to know Deathstroke just a little bit, where him and Dr. Light are sitting around a table talking about plans. These two characters are really 180 degrees out of phase with each other. Dr. Light is the man who just can't shut up, and Deathstroke is the man with the plan. If I'm talking freely, I suspect Deathstroke kills Light before the end of the season. The other part of Deathstroke was so clearly how he had a plan, and how it played out in the rest of the episode leading all the way to the finale. When he talks about calling the herd, it's perfect. And clearly his plan to identify the weaknesses of the team has already started to work. We'll get to that closing scene in just a minute when we talk about Jason, but Deathstroke was awesome in this episode. Another great part of episode 3 was Rose, at least some of the character development. Now, we spend quite a bit of time with her throughout the episode, and it's still really unclear to me if she's friend or foe. Now, you do remember she said her father took her eye, but in the comics she sacrificed that eye as a sign of loyalty, and it's still unclear whether that's the case. That training session was really a great scene, and we get to see both characters highlight their moves, but the dialogue is what's interesting. During the training session with Dick Grayson, Rose says, "I hope I haven't broken this place. Seems like there's a lot of drama around here." This, to me, is a major clue on whether she is or is not with Deathstroke, who, if you listen to carefully earlier in the show, actually said, and I quote, "We put them in crisis. See how they operate, who commands, and who follows." This, to me, seems to be a clear-as-day tie between the two characters. We also spent quite a bit of time with Corey and the royal guard, Fadai, who apparently is a forbidden love interest from her home planet. Clearly, the royal family wants her home right away, and they sent a messenger to make that happen. Well, not the whole family. Interestingly enough, Fadai mentions that he wasn't sent by her mother or father, but by her sister, Blackfire. Now, if you're familiar with the comics, she's a great villain in her own right, and I'm pretty sure the seeds for her showing up in future episodes are being set right here. It's also pretty clear that Corey cares about this person, and that this relationship is going to be developed a little more throughout the season. It's already been announced that Blackfire will be the villain on Season 3, so we'll probably get a full resolution to this story arc this season, and then get Blackfire teased for next. It was also pretty great to see the OG Titans back together. The episode kicked off with a reunion that was stressful but joyous, and led us to a showdown with Dr. Light in a stadium about 2/3 of the way through the episode. Now, unfortunately, there was no costumes in this, but Dr. Light's was pretty darn cool. The CGI was okay, could be improved, but is acceptable. His charge-up portion of the scene was probably the only clunky part. We got to see some pretty awesome action shots of all 4 characters, which I really liked, and Dr. Light showing off his powers. But let's talk about the highlight of the scene, Donna Troy. Now, we got a great scene of her last week teaming up with Corey, but this one is even better. Not only do we get to see her use some of her wonder speed, but what she does with her lasso is hilarious. During the scene as Dr. Light flees, she grabs a motorcycle with it and just crushes him. Now, throughout the episode, we saw Gar make some questionable trust choices, once covering up for Rachel, and then again helping Jason, in their attempt to sneak off and find out some more information about Dr. Light. Now, obviously, Jason leaned on him a little bit and used some classic peer pressure, but in either case, Gar fell victim to the pressure. Now, I gotta say, the fight between Jason Todd and Dr. Light was awesome. And Jason Todd really kicked Dr. Light's butt. Well, not at first. One of the best parts about this scene was that moment of clarity in that almost Rocky Balboa moment, remembering what Dick had told him in episode 2 during that training session. Unfortunately, he had abandoned Gar during this process and was alone. And once defeating Light, it became apparent that that was a weakness. Deathstroke had used his loner instincts against him, separated him from Gar, and apparently either taken him hostage or killed him. We hear Jason screams from afar, with Gar just finding a pool of blood and no Jason. I really don't think Jason Todd is already dead like he is in the comics, but I do suspect Deathstroke is using him as bait. Deathstroke literally told us in the beginning of the episode what was going to happen, and he did it. Like I said, there was a whole bunch that happened in this episode, and a lot of character development. Dick, throughout the episode, is clearly burdened with this new weight of leadership, and it appears to be causing some cracks. Corey's royal background is tracking her down. Clearly, she has feelings for Fadai. It even appears she's trying to protect him from himself. One minor plot point was Rachel's powers are clearly going to have a mind of their own. We didn't dig too deep into that during this recap, but it's going somewhere. Gar's will and decision making is clearly suspect at this point, twice being deceptive in this episode. It's more than a little concerning. Dawn and Hank are going to be dealing with Hank's ability or inability to avoid falling to his own addictions. They do appear to be around till at least till Dr. Light is gone, and I'm curious what the long-term plans for these characters is. I sense tragedy on the horizon. And my favorite one of the episode, even though she was fairly underused, was Donna Troy. Not only did she have that great scene smashing Dr. Light with a motorcycle, but she did seed some more of that tragic backstory that we haven't had yet revealed to us. Why do I feel like this tragedy is going to be the death of Aqualad? It's still unclear whether Rose is friend or foe. We don't really know yet, but her statements about breaking things seems to indicate not so much. And finally, Jason. Wow, did Jason have a rough episode. From being left out of a mission, getting slapped down by Dick, finally being either killed or captured by Deathstroke, he just took a complete beating. What was your favorite scene in this week's episode? For me, it's pretty easy. I've been ranting and raving about it for a couple minutes, but Donna Troy hitting Dr. Light with a motorcycle was just great. Tell me your favorite scene in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you press like below, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.